What's up, my peoples? Look, I'm doing um a vlog, an interview, whatever you want to call it. This is a synopsis of a class I went to a few weeks back. They call this class the front right seat leadership synopsis. Let me tell you something. I've been to a lot of classes in my days. I've attended some executive protection bodyguard classes for both the Georgia Post and privately. And let me tell you, this was something that I was honored to be a part of. First of all, because this guy, tell you a little bit about this guy without giving out too much information. The guy's name is Eric Conahia. If you never heard the name, guess what? People know him. People know him. Very affluent people know him. Without saying too much, because I am under confidentiality agreement, let's just say that he protects people in this world who, if they took their money away, it would rupture the economy. Let's just put it like that. All right. So he protects some very powerful people. Well, with his own words, he told us that he's not too much for doing the training side of things. He's not a trainer. He admitted that when we first got there. He said, "I'm not a trainer, but I am open to fixing the voids where I see them." And it's just like me. Wherever there's holes to be patched, you need to patch them instead of making yourself part of the problem and complaining about it. So what he did was he filled a void, looking at some of the leadership positions and some of the things that were going out here in our industry, which is the bodyguard, executive protection, close protection industry, and where people would, say that they in leadership positions, this, that, and other, but they don't have a clue as to what leadership really means in this industry and what it all really breaks down into. Let me tell you, after this class, I thought I knew something, but I know now that I knew nothing of what I thought I knew. And just to give you a synopsis of the people that were in class and the type of courses they have attended, this is not to speak bad about any other school or anything else. But let's just say, and I'm not even going to give any names because I don't want to do that, but let's just say that the people that were in my class have attended some of what people call the Harvard of the executive protection schooling. Okay? If you know what the top schools are for executive protection, or what is considered the top schools, the people that were in the class have been to that before. They spent a lot of money to go to high class classes. And I can tell you, just in day one alone, these guys came and we sat in the hotel rooms. I've never heard any of this stuff. So let me tell you, people, I'm not saying don't go waste your $3,000. What I am saying is don't think that you're going to go there and you're going to know everything. Because our eyes were totally open when we attended this class. This class was by invite only. We had 5 people in the class. A group of 10 were invited. Most of those guys that did not show, I actually had 5 who attended out of 10 who were invited, and the other 4 people were either on a detail and they could not make it, or some other prior issues had come up. Let me tell you something. I'm glad I took the call. I'm glad I went to the class. Now, with all my yip yap out of the way, let's begin. Let's tell you about how this thing went down and how it was. Excuse me, how it was for me. I'm gonna start with day 0. Day 0. Drove that 600 plus mile north drive from Atlanta to Washington, D.C. area. I stayed in Camp Springs. As I pulled up, I took a look around. I said, God dang, man, this looks like home. Looks like Atlanta, Georgia. Needless to say, we chose a hotel that wasn't all that great. And let me tell you how this begins. This begins in a place where I believe that great things are supposed to begin. If you're going to be doing a class about leadership, then there's some things that you should already know. And one of those things in the executive protection industry is advance. So why would he give us any help on choosing hotels when our job is to look and find the best hotel anyway? That's the way I looked at it anyway. So we ended up picking this hotel right across from Andrews Air Force Base, which was not the best choice, but it ended up being the most costly choice for us, like the most beneficial financially for us. For me, I only paid $50 a night, and plus I wanted to be surrounded by the guys. Now, out the way, I pull up and I see these guys standing around uh, talking about some things, talking about details. The first thing I come up and say, and I'm listening to them, and we started to get to talking, and I said, "Man, you didn't work a detail, you worked a freaking free tail." You guys had to been there. Some of these guys in the industry are known from working what I now call a free tail. And don't freaking trademark my crap. It's a free tail. Free tail is when you go work a detail just to put a little experience on your resume, and they don't pay you for your work. Um, we don't believe in that crap around here, so we joked about that. We had a good night. We went and sat down, man. It was about 35 degrees out there that night when we got out there, and we went and got something to eat, and we just told each other. We got this box from Eric, and he was like, "Here's the box. Y'all figure out what to do with it." I remember one of the guys saying, "Hey man, where's the office that we have to meet?" The first thing out of his mouth was actually a side eye. He looked at him like, "Are you serious? You asking me where you got to be? You don't know how to look up and use your freaking GPS?" And we knew at that moment it had just hit the fan. Things had just started. So from there, man, we went to bed, and as soon as we got up the next morning, day one, we get up to this text message. Text message says, "Being early is being on time. Being on time is late, and being late is to be fired." We knew he meant business. All the guys started scrambling. Man, we left the hotel and we were in our seats approximately 35 minutes to the class starting. We hit the ground running. Let me tell you, day one, I wrote 12 pages of notes. 12 pages of notes. Okay? We went over everything from each position, the standard call of each position, all the way down to the why. We talked about the black and the white, which basically breaks down to why everybody try to shortcut everything, and this is why all these guys ended up on TV and ended up on the news. And of course, you know, guys have seen the biggest and the latest trend here, which is, you know, everybody talking about how Beyonce and Jay-Z's bodyguard could have did something different. But if you guys don't know anything about that situation or anything about his position, you don't know anything. And this was the importance of day one. Day one was all about breaking that down, understanding the why, from not only a executive protection specialist side of view, but also from the client side of view, the things that they're looking for and the things that we're providing and the why. And, you know, day one, he broke down, he gave us 5 people that we had to place on a detail that he was going to be giving us more information about during the week, and gave us all of their personalities. Now, with these personalities on day one also came the breakdown of what he calls the scale. Now, I'm not going to tell you what type of scale it is and what I'm talking about, because you had to be there in order to understand it. But he broke down the scale and understanding how his scale and these 2 other things, I'm not going to give you that information, but these 2 other things break down in figuring out why you would place somebody on a certain part of your detail. And let me tell you, when you understand that scale and understand them other 2 things, it makes things so much more clear that you understand, if I place this guy here, why he's going to get himself into trouble. If I place this person here, why are they going to be a perfect match? It all made sense. It was all the truth. It was all of what we needed to hear and understand going forward, how we would place our people on the details going forward. Day one broke down every single position in if you had, let's say you had a 6 or 7 man detail, broke down every position. And then the end of day one, we got out and we did some practical. And this guy started us off with, this guy Eric started us off with 6 people on the detail, walking in a diamond formation, walking in a protective bubble, and he showed us piece by piece what would happen, all the way down to a solo specialist, which is somebody who's working totally by themselves, how it all work out if you went from having your full package of resource all the way down to nothing. Let me tell you something, people. When you got to think fast and move on your feet, it was phenomenal. The way he broke it down and the way we did it, it was crazy. We went back to the hotel day one. We practiced that. We wrote up some notes, and then we went to bed. Day two, man, I did 14 pages of notes. Okay, this is where we got more intel on the detail we're gonna be setting up with the 5 guys I told you about on the first day. Not only did we get that, we got the full breakdown of the motorcade. So now, basically, when you see Secret Service, man, it's like you don't even have to question any full package motorcade, like what all those cars are. You know everything. You know every single person, the whereabouts of every person, how they're gonna make their stops. I mean everything. Not only that, we got the breakdown to route selection, route assessment. It's also funny too. I heard something I've actually heard before, put in somebody else's information, called the weakest chain in the link. We talked about that person. That person being the person that you can't control, which is the drivers that you get from other companies that are not part of your detail. I heard that. I was like, man, it's pretty interesting. I've heard that before. And he broke it down to us, telling us that, a lot of people takes his information and they go out and they put it out to the world like it's theirs, or they make you a little credit for it, but they're not putting the information out correctly. And to hear the information put out correctly and put out the way it's supposed to be put out, like the front right seat. All right, we got a full understanding of what front right seat means within day one and day two. It's not what people think. People think that freaking front right seat mean I sit up there in the front right seat and that's all to it. Let me tell you something, people. Totally different than whatever I ever thought. Okay, we got a full breakdown of within arm's reach, full breakdown of front right seat, full breakdown of motorcade, full breakdown of advance, full breakdown of the protective team, full breakdown of the statistics and all the everything that came straight out of the U.S. Secret Service handbook. All this stuff, which was formulated over years of experience and years of doing it the standard way. A lot of people have their way, but there's only one standard. And when you are pushed to do the standard, man, let me tell you something, you do not want to go back. All right, let me tell you. So, day two ended again, going out, practicing again, a moving motorcade this time, instead of just the positions in the protective bubble, but now a moving motorcade and how everything operates, everything from your radio communication all the way down to who actually talks, all the way down to things you're going to experience in the car. I mean, let me tell you something. To understand the guy who's in position to handle all these things was just a total eye-opener, and knowing how when you go forward to do your details in your private life, who's going to be taking charge, how they're going to take charge, the type of person you're going to need to put in this position to take charge. I mean, it just blows my mind. The people out here that are considered the leaders would never, trust me, I say never be able to comprehend the things that were put out in this class, because they've never done it, and it'll be a total brainwash for them. All right, moving along. So day two, man, went home. We talked about the 5 guys that we had to put into detail again, and it ended up being, man, one of the best things we did, because we got to brainstorm as a group, kind of arguing back and forth like, well, if we put this dude here, put this guy here, this is the difference it make. And then we found out the next morning, day 3, that all of somewhat of our ideas made a lot of sense. But at the same time, we talked about how it would have made more sense to switch another person around to a different position. So we got to see how each person would have played a different part in a different position had you placed them differently on your detail. Day three. Day three started off with a wash up of day two and day one. Not only that, this is where the real stuff began. Let me tell you something. I've never been to a person's classroom or a person's class where they handed us everything we needed for what we were getting ready to do. He handed us a synopsis of an itinerary, a little bit of really nothing but besides the places where the client or the principal would be visiting. Okay, he said, "You guys take this. You go advance. Go do your advanced work." We had to take that and we had to go advance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 5 known locations that we had to advance, and he advised us, so we'd be prepared for it, that we would have off the record moves, which we knew in the first place. We knew we would have off the record moves, because what kind of class is it if you don't have an off the record move? So we had 5 places that we had to go advance. Here's the best part. When he sent us out to do the advance, he gave us the goddamn money for the gas, for everything that we needed to do the advance. So to me, that speaks freaking volumes. You went to somebody's class, they made you go somewhere. You're not wasting your own gas, you're not wasting your money to maybe buy a driver, buy whatever you needed. The money was put in our hands, and we were made to make up an expense report, get all our receipts. So this wasn't just a class where they were telling you to do things and you were going out and supposedly really doing them. No, we were physically on day 3 going out doing the protective advance at 5 locations. The people who were in the locations, gave us those looks like, why are these guys here? I mean, it was very, very good. Day 3, did all our advance work. We came back. We wrote all our advances up. We had a small meeting that night talking about the advance, which led us into day 4. Day 4 was all about putting everything we had learned from the first 3 days together with our advance and everything. He wasn't going to ask us any questions, and he didn't ask us any questions. He said, be there at 9:45 and be ready to roll. Of course, we were there at 9:15, ready to roll out the door. He didn't waste any time getting in the car. Went in the car, first location. Everything went without a snag. Went from each location without a snag. The daytime portion was everything, anywhere from retail to food establishment to even a mall, where we had to work, and we had to decide whether we're going to take 5 people inside and make it look all fancy and all this other stuff, or whether it would be more sensible to only take one, just a detail leader or one person inside the establishment to make it play down a lot. So a lot of these things were left up, well, everything was left up to us to make the decision, and whether that decision would be a rightful decision based on the area, based on the store location, and based on everything. So we had the decisions to make based on the things that he had given us prior to that week. Now, day 3 ended with a kind of a nightcap. We went to a party where we're surrounded by bikers. So we had to roll in, do our motorcade approach, do the advance. We had the advance guy there already. We did the big advance. We had a very diverse team. We didn't have all of one different type. We had a very diverse team. We had somebody who freaking captain ships. Had some guys that work security for a living. It was just all different, diverse group of guys. And let me tell you, these guys performed wonderfully. And at the end of the night, he broke it down and told us that there was not much he could say. So he ended up doing an index on the detail and tells us, man, just great job. How everything just moved smoothly and everything, went according to plan. And basically it brought back to light the reason why he chose us guys in the first place, because he knew that, there was something that we could handle. and it ended up being, again, one of the greatest experiences of my life. And then day five was the most important day for me because, here was the hot wash. Not only did he bring us in separately, to explain to us why, I didn't tell you, but he gave us call signs. So we got our call signs for that day. And my call sign is something that, I love. Mine was Quiet Storm. It basically explained to me that, in all the chaos, everything that went on, what he saw from me was that I never got flustered. I never seen my face change, all that stuff. Even at the club around the bikers, he saw how cool I was. But what he knew, he said what he knew was that bubbling down on the inside, if something had hit the fan, that quietness would have went to that storm really fast. And man, when I tell you he hit the mark right on the head, I mean, that's me, because I don't get angry, I don't get upset, I don't curse, I don't drink, I don't smoke. But when things hit the fan, that's when you see me go into active mode. And I think in this industry, that's the way that you have to be, because if you're not, if you're not that quiet person all the time, then people don't want to deal with you. And it's basically one of those people he talked about in his scale, where they're always on high level, and you just can't have that person around a corporate person, but they would do well around a celebrity client because they're always on 10. The night ended with a synopsis of the class, where he came in, he told us, good job. And let me tell you something. I know I've been talking for 21 minutes, but let me tell you, it all ends here. This guy gave us something that I'm not going to tell you what it is, but he gave us something that he told us if we walked into any of the Fortune 100 companies and we had this thing with us, these guys will automatically recognize it and automatically know that you are in a group where things matter. What that means, or what it meant for me, is that I know that if I ever walk in and I have this thing with me, that when they see that, they're going to know, the word I like to use is called aligned. They're going to know that I'm well placed and well aligned with the right organization. And that's a lot to be said from a training, just a training that I've taken for a 5-day training, and to be placed and aligned where everybody in the Fortune 100 arena knows this thing is freaking unbelievable to me. So to get that one gift alone was enough for the 5 days, with just that. When they know you're a part of this group, speaks volumes. But that's my time, guys. Been talking a whole bunch, too long, maybe. Like, God dang, man, 23 minutes on this model hour. Let me tell you something. Wish I could have talked for an hour. Because, I would love to say some things that we learn, like mother effing right and exactly. Again, you'd have had to been there to know what the heck I'm talking about. We had some guys, man. Let me tell you something. These 5 other gentlemen I was with, the time of my freaking life. If I had to explain all of them, let me tell you something. We had one that never stopped smiling. We had one that everything, mother effing right. We had a boy, Uriah was like the father of the guy doing group. We had old Jimmy, the quiet one that'll get you. You never know. We had our captain who could freaking, man, let me tell you, this dude could, he just conversated. His conversation came out of nowhere, and all the women just fell on top of him. Like, yeah, so I've been to south of Africa the last 2 days, and I mean, that was so funny, man. But we had a excellent group, an excellent time, and let me tell you something. If you're thinking about attending any of the classes that Eric invites you to, you better freaking jump on it, because nobody else is going to care as much to give you the information. It's not for profit. I will tell you, it is not for freaking profit. This dude gave us stuff, and he has entrusted us with stuff that if we leaked it out, it would be bad. Not bad, but it would be. It's almost like your parents trusting you as a child not to do the wrong things, not to drink, not to smoke, all that stuff, you know, illegal drugs and all this other stuff. That's the trust that he put on us with his proprietary information, and we have been entrusted with that, and he knows and he trusts that we will cherish this information and never give it away. And let me tell you, that for me is that means a lot. All right. So anyhow, that's been my 25 goddamn minutes. When y'all get that invite, you better goddamn press yes and pay that money. Cause when you know, it's mother effing right. Exactly. I'm out. Y'all know y'all win that darn fight. You know I love you. Peace out.